Welcome back to another episode of Underrated and Overlooked. Happy to be back this fine Tuesday. Football's starting to heat up, man. We got a week. I think it's week 6 in college football. Week 7 just concluded for high school football, so we'll get into that, and then obviously we'll get into some NFL, and then seeing how we did in our predictions. I think this week though, Craig, I think you did better than me in the college football predictions. I counted. You can confirm, but I think you're 7-3. I was 5-5. So rough week for me.
Interesting. That's good.
Yeah, I beat you the week before though.
I was really bad on the Oregon State pick, though. Too high on Utah.
I get it though. Utah
And
is
then
looking good
Florida,
this season.
man, what happened to Florida? We'll get into it. But
Yeah.
that was surprising.
No,
I
definitely.
had high hopes for them, but they did not look good.
Yeah,
They looked like they did against Utah in that opener.
no, 100%. But we'll start with our high school segment. So, Craig, what just stood out to you just from week 7? Obviously some big results. I think one for me is obviously, as you mentioned before we came on air, Newton beating Grayson for the first time in school history. And a comeback victory. Grayson pretty much led for majority of that game, and then they came back and were able to win.
Yeah, that was probably the most shocking result. There were only 10 7A games last week. You had all of Cobb County off on fall break, so I think Walton was actually the only one, just a non-region game. But we talked about how big that matchup was. Grayson looked like it was the hottest team. They were cruising. You look at that defense, and then how Newton beat them was so surprising. They really did it through the air. Uh, and I think that was a strategy. It's like that Grayson defense, it's so hard to run against them. So maybe it's like, okay, we're going to have to be aggressive, get the passing game going. And that's exactly what they did. Had a huge night. I think they had 41 pass attempts and just kept at it and found holes in that secondary, used their speed to get big plays. And I think they were really creative in it. I have this stat from it. I think it was, what's his name? Marcus Cowwire, I think. He had a 79-yard touchdown pass. He had, I think, second on the team in rushing and a huge game receiving. So I think they used a creative just playbook. This is Josh Skelton's first year there, so I just think it was a huge victory, and they are in that driver's seat in that region.
Yeah, they are, and I mean it's a tough region at that. I mean you got Grayson there, Newton, I believe Parkview's in there,
Yep.
Brookwood. So it's a tough region. And they're in the driver's seat, as you said, to kind of get that region title. So I think it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. That really surprised me, as you said, Grayson coming in hot, playing some good football, scoring at will, defense playing good, firing all cylinders, coming off that big victory against Lowndes. And it's tough, but definitely another building block for them. And obviously, like I said, Grayson's still my sleeper to come out. But we'll see how they rebound kind of after that.
And then we talked about how great that matchup's been in basketball too. Newton
Yeah.
and Grayson, there is that history there. But I mean, my stepdad, he used to coach at Brookwood. He used to always say, "I hate playing Newton. They're so athletic." And then a bunch of coaches on the shows in the past have been, "What is it about this Newton team? Why are they so difficult?" It was always about, well, they're really hard to beat at home. Well, they just beat Grayson on the road, so I think that's a big step for them. They've had some key wins in recent weeks. The big win over Westlake, and then this one. I think 100% they're the real deal.
Yes, 100%. And for me, man, we got to talk about the game that was on Peachtree TV. I think that was the game of the year in my opinion so far. Houston County, Lee County. I mean, it's back and forth the whole time. No blowouts. One team scored, the other answered. All game long, really up until the end. When Usmani Kromah with just an incredible run, just not going down, scoring a touchdown. Even the coach, as you mentioned, after the game, he talked to him. He said, "I didn't want to leave them too much time. I felt like I left too much time." But as I told you, I thought their defense started to heat up, and we seen that. Like I had seen like 3 sacks in 2 possessions, and they ended up getting 5 sacks in 3 possessions. Kind of Leroy Jackson took over the 3-star player. And their defensive line just heated up on Houston County. And I thought that was the difference in the game. And Antoine Hill didn't have as much time to kind of dissect the defense and kind of go where he wanted with the ball.
Yeah, that was what made the game so entertaining, I think, because not only was it just evenly matched the whole game, in the second half when the defenses started heating up, it was both defenses were heating up. And then, I mean, that's just, how evenly matched it was the whole time. I think Houston County didn't have the first lead of the game until super late. Lee County answers immediately. Just an unbelievable effort. And definitely that Lee County defense, when they got heated up at the end, you knew as good as AJ Hill is, as good as that offense is, you could just tell, like when they were in that third down situation, it's like they're gonna get them, they're coming, and then
Yep.
the safety to end it is pretty impressive.
No, 100%. I thought they did a good job as well for Houston County. They got some really good playmakers, in my opinion. Underrated player Ryan Talib. He did a good job, man. I mean, he had just those consistent runs throughout the game that kind of made it easier for obviously Antoine Hill just to kind of throw the football and play action and hit his weapons. And you had Ricky Johnson. You had Cale Wilburn, who really impressed me with his speed. So I definitely think they're going to be a dangerous team. Just getting the ball to their playmakers and still being able to run the football. I would like to see though them, run AJ Hill a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I think that just opens up a whole nother element of their offense. But man, that was the best game we've seen. I mean, obviously we had to drive to Warner Robins to see it, but that was the best game we've had on TV all year.
Absolutely. The replay is available. I highly suggest watching it. You'll be impressed not just with the performance by Chroma, but both teams, honestly. And then I think what Houston County also did really well in that game. So Chroma had the big touchdown on Lee County's first play. Houston County was struggling a little bit on the deep ball, but they were so dangerous with the screen game and just getting that ball out quick. The receivers blocked well. They're so dangerous and sparking big plays, yards after catch. A really dynamic offense. Neither team really made a lot of mistakes. Weren't really that many procedural things, but it was just one of those games. I really couldn't tell who was going to come out with the victory, not until the very end. And so, I mean, that's surprising. A team that's never beaten Lee County, and just the momentum changes. It was awesome.
Yeah, 100%. And another big result to me was the East Paulding win over Noonan. They go to 3-0 in their region, 36-17 victory. In that one, they're looking like they're going to be a playoff team this year. Really tough region. They still got to play. Well, this week they got to play Lacey Hills in their homecoming week, and then they got to play Douglas County. But they're off to an incredible start. Javin Parker, big game, 16 carries, 148 yards, 2 touchdowns. So they're doing a good job, and they were in kind of a 2 QB system. I had on the head coach last Thursday. But they do a good job. I think that was a big time win for them to continue the confidence.
Yeah, and that 2 quarterback system, it's funny because it's exactly what he did Hecklinski's first year when he was OC at Walton. You had Zach Rosman, then you had Hecklinski coming in. Did it in the Corky Kell too, and so he does it specifically to bring different looks. It's not necessarily you have a quarterback battle; it's strategic in the offense, and then I think they're versatile offensively. You talked about Javin Parker.
Yeah.
The last few weeks, I mean, he had 33 carries against South Paulding, 33 for 133. He had 16 for 142, 2 touchdowns. In the Paulding County win, only 9 carries. So I think they're not afraid to run the ball when that's working. They're not afraid to give him 30 carries, 25, and he can take over a game. And they've got a lot of juniors on that team, but I think they play good complementary football. When the offense is trying to slow down the game, the defense will step up. When the defense is doing its thing, the offense will be conservative, just try to play the field position. I think they're good at that in-game management.
No, 100%. And then, Craig, I know you were very high on this team, and you giving them a lot of exposure and love. But Warner Robins handed Ola their first loss. I think Ola had a lead in that game as well. But just what's your thoughts on that? Do you think that kind of deters Ola a little bit, or you think that's just, one of those games, you just lose, but it's going to help you going forward?
That was a tough one. That would have shocked everyone. Even though Warner Robins has been a little inconsistent, and they're a team that's known to come on later on in the season. I mean, that was probably a 40-point blowout last year. And Ola has just been outstanding. They brought in a new coach. They've actually never even won a playoff game before. So knocking off a team that's been to like 5 straight championships, that would have been a huge deal. They had the advantage. I think it was probably similar to that Calhoun-Cartersville game. So once you have that lead, the other team might have that advantage just in terms of the speed, the explosiveness, and then they're going to spark a big play. They end up coming back, getting the 2-point conversion, but they gave them just a huge challenge, and they still have a chance in that region. Some big games coming up. I think Ola might have upset like Jones County last year. There's always upsets in that region, so they're not out of it yet, but that was certainly a close one, and I think it validates Ola though, because a lot of people saw the 5A poll recently, and they're like, "Who's Ola? Like, why are they in it?" But you go toe to toe with Warner Robins. I think they are certainly a legit team.
And last result, I want to talk about the Mary Parsons big victory against Prince Avenue Christian, as we know, kind of just the favorite out there in their classification. Just how surprised were you of that win, and just what were your thoughts on that, them beating a really good team?
Yeah, that was. I mean, not a lot of teams have been able to go toe to toe with them offensively, and so I think they had obviously the defense to slow down Aaron Philo, but the way that they dominated the second half was pretty impressive. And I have it pulled up right here. I think it was Duke Watson was the running back. They said he just went absolutely nuts. Let's see. He scored on 5 touchdown runs, had a 10-yarder, 65, 24, and 84 yards. So just another standout individual performance, 315 yards, 5 touchdowns on 29 carries. So he just broke the game plan, and when you can keep the ball out of Prince Avenue's hands with solid running, I think that's the formula, but that was certainly a big result.
Yeah, it certainly was. And actually, speaking of, that moves us to our next segment, Week 7 Standout Performers. And actually, that's one of mine. Duke Watson from Mary Parsons, as you mentioned, 315 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns, big-time performance against a really good team. He showed pretty much his whole repertoire in that game, and he continues to have, a good career for that team and big-time victory, and it's going to definitely help them going forward. So that's my standout. I'll throw it to you, Craig, for yours.
Yeah, that was a cross-classification one, but still, I mean, Prince Avenue, they're an outstanding team. You got to have a good game plan. Certainly, he deserved the game ball, 5 touchdowns. But Douglas County's Mike Hasty, there's a lot of playmakers on that team. They're doing a great job at, I mean, just collectively balling out every week. But I mean, this is an interesting stat line. You don't see many guys that play defensive end and running back. And so he had 101 yards on the ground and a touchdown on just 7 carries and then 8 tackles in a 50-0 shutout victory. It's a solid game on both sides of the ball right there.
No, 100%. And then my next standout got to be from Briarwood Academy. Athlete Hollis Evans rushed for 209 yards, a touchdown. He had a kickoff return for a touchdown and 12 tackles. Talk about getting it done on both sides of the ball. Phenomenal performance from Hollis Evans. He has one of my standout performances from Week 7.
Yep. All right. Well, next I'm going to go Devin Henderson with Cass. We'll get to see him next week. He doesn't come off the field. He is just all effort, every single play, just an unbelievable talent. He means so much to that program. But in Cass's region opener, 42-12 win over Woodland Cartersville, had 160 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns on 16 carries. He caught a touchdown pass as well. And he was also in on defense. So just another solid performance, and we know that the entire game plan next week is going to be geared on stopping him.
100%. And then my next standout performer is Chapel Hill running back / linebacker Michael Paget. He had 200 all-purpose yards, 2 touchdowns. Big-time performance for Chapel Hill's 18-16 victory this past week. He gets my standout performer from Week 7.
Yep. Quick shout out. Yeah, Flowery Branch had a big win over Clark Central. I wanted to point that out. That was a big result for them. They had been struggling in recent years. Josh Oliver, 4 touchdown passes. But I got to go with Osamane Chroma, standout performance. One of the best individual efforts I've seen. He did it with a calf injury. And then, as I said, when he came over to the set after the game, that is a big running back. He is physically fit. When he's healthy and just later on into his career, he's only a junior, I think he's going to have just a great college career. He's going to be a big-time name. I loved your article yesterday where he was talking about like what motivated him, his Muslim faith, all that. He is just, he's a special talent.
100%. That's a guy that's just next level doing that. 300-plus yards rushing guys on a strained calf. Said he could barely walk going into that game. His head coach said so too. So that's kind of crazy to have that performance. You could barely walk. He definitely gets our standout performer of the week.
How many yards would he have had if he was like – because there were some plays where he still broke off a 60-yard run, but, I mean, he would have either dragged the guy into the end zone or just made him miss. I mean, he was unbelievable.
100%. And then my next standout performer, East Paulding. Yep, I see you. The recruits just mentioned you. Wide receiver Cameron Shelley, 4 catches, 165 yards, and 2 tutties. Great time performance from Cameron Shelley. They're doing their thing. East Paulding, they got some weapons. I think they're going to be a potential team to watch for out there in 6A. They're looking to make the playoffs under Chris Hirschfield, who's doing a good job with that team. A magnificent performance from Cameron Shelley. He gets my standout performer.
Yep, I got one more. Cam Lloyd, Walton Raiders, big time receiver. He stepped up huge in that win over North Paulding. Wyatt Sonderman went down. Hunter Teal was doing his thing, but he showed his speed, made the big plays, and ended up picking up a huge offer from Navy. So that was a great performance for him, and he is reaping the benefits.
Clocked a 22 miles per hour on that play. Y'all go look it up. Reels Analytics. Phenomenal play from Cameron Lloyd. Somebody I highlighted, got to see him this past summer at the camp in Hoover, Alabama in the 7-on-7. Kid is incredible. Tried to give him some exposure then. Finally getting a little bit of notice. Definitely has a bright future. I mean, I know everybody's kind of hung up on just the 5'8", but I mean, man, you look at the NFL, look at Tyreek Hill, look at the smaller guys, the Devontae Smiths of the world, the Tutu Atwells. If you're a dynamic playmaker, you can definitely make a difference for a team. So I just wanted to point that out. Cameron Lloyd, as you mentioned, Craig, doing a great job. Has a bright future. Hopefully teams starting to realize that and notice that. All right, last but not least, Oconee County quarterback. That's my final standout performer, Mac Ricks. What a phenomenal performance. At quarterback, he rushed for 188 yards, 4 touchdowns, passed for 84 yards, and he had 12 tackles, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. I mean, you talk about getting it done on both sides of the ball. I mean, taking that physical contact all game long with the rushing yards and then dealing out physical contact too on the other side of the ball and forcing turnovers and keeping your team in position to win. Phenomenal performance. Definitely standout performer for me. Mac Ricks of Oconee County. Keep doing your thing, man. Doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah, that's a crazy stat line right there.
Yes, 100%. All right, guys. So we got 2 more segments before we wrap up our high school. We're going to do a tell of the tape. My player today that I picked was Timothy Anthony. Plays for Shiloh High School. I know they don't get a lot of notice, but we're going to do about a 2-minute 30 clip. He really plays coverage really well, but we're going to share the screen with you guys right now. All right, and that's Shiloh High School. All right, so here we go. All right, there, so you guys can see a full screen. Right here, you're going to see he's playing a cover 3. He's kind of waiting, baits the quarterback, kind of overthrow, good position, right on time. Nice pick right there, giving the ball back to his offense. Right here below the screen, you see he's going to play off. I think he likes to play press a little bit more, but look at him play it pretty good. Okay, kind of off-platform throw for the quarterback. Look at him break on the ball. I think that's pretty cool play right there. Some great closing speed, I think. Okay, right here, this is his favorite thing to do. Watch him press the receiver. Boom, right here. Look him turn his head. No lane for the quarterback to throw the ball. All right, right here, you're going to actually see the press. He's actually really elite at this. Got a cover 3 again. 1 single high safety. Boom, look at him press. Turn his head. Make it difficult for the receiver to get the ball. Same thing here. Nice press right there. Make it difficult for the receiver. Turn his head. And this one's going to be hard to see because it's kind of flagged off a little bit. But you just want to see him just take away the airspace for the receiver, make it a very difficult catch. And that's what you want to do. All right, here comes the blitz. Boom. I mean, that's a difficult catch. Okay, same thing right here. He's going to press again. Looks like I got a cover 3. 2 corners, 1 safety up top. All right, here he is right there in the middle. Big time standing in the red zone. What stands out to you, Craig?
Well, first of all, the receivers have not gotten any opening space. And then when he's playing in his coverage, the closing speed, him reading the quarterback, getting those picks, I mean, it's just great film so far.
100%. So I think we're going to see him at the bottom of the screen to your left. Looks like he's in that. Oh, he's on the other side. Okay. Here he is right here.
That's good right there. Yeah.
That's a good job just blowing up the screen. I was pretty blocked up pretty well, but he sees it, senses it really well. Tilly watches the film. Great job right there. Okay, then he's showing his versatility right here. He's playing looks like safety. It's a great tackle.
Yep.
I think that's potentially an even bigger gain if he doesn't get there. So great physical, downhill corner / safety as well. Okay, here we go. Some safety action again. Another big run play. Nice tackle, but to stop him right there. All right, here he is again. Safety. Get another run play. Getting to the second level, but doing a good job of stopping it right there. Not allowing touchdowns. Okay, here we go. So what we like to see him. Corner again. Good press. No airspace. Playing the zone. Look at him come up. Oh, that's textbook right there.
Yeah, limit that to a 3-yard gain. That was key.
All right, we'll look at a couple more. Good press right there. Sees it. Breaks off a big gain. Look at him again. Big time tackle again. That's a touchdown, I think, without his tackle. Okay, this could be a punt. No, I'm sorry. That's a run play. Yeah, good job just tackling him down. Good hustle. All right, we're going to see him at safety here again. Another run play. Look at him finish off the play well. All right, we look at two more. Got a zone here again. Nice job wrapping up the ball carrier, showing his physicality. All right, last play right here we'll look at. Playing some safety again. Another big run play. Look at him stuff it. So, I mean, obviously, I think good job. Really enjoy looking at his film. I think, he showed his versatility where he could play safety and he could play coverage. I really like him pressing. I think he does a good job with that. Just kind of coming down and really not giving the receiver any airspace. And then the good thing is, too, Craig, a lot of times you see corners struggle after the 5 yards. They still got their hands on them. Still, and that results in penalties, right? But he's doing a good job of pressing in the first 5 yards. And then after the 5 yards, he's turning his head around, looking for where the ball is. And then by that point, he's pressed so well, it's difficult for the receivers to kind of locate the football.
Yeah. And speaking of the press, though, it's like he's really holding down that secondary, because if he's pressing on a lot of plays and then he's got that safety help over the top, he can press, then sit down in that flat area. And then you've seen what he did on that, just being able to recognize where the ball's going, making a lot of big tackles. So
100%.
Yeah.
So good take.
Very impressive. I like him in the cover 3 as well, as you said, and in the man coverage.
Yeah, so he's doing a good job. So good job, Tim. Keep doing your thing, man. We see you. Enjoy watching your tape and breaking it down. All right, we're going to move to our final segment before we move to our college football segment. What's your thoughts on GAC's impressive start?
I think it's the complementary football we hear about. So the defense has been solid. Offense has been solid. So you have these different matchups. If it's a team where, okay, this offense is more potent, they're able to increase the tempo a little bit. They're more versatile offensively. The defense is holding it down. And then I think in the win over Cambridge, 30-3, Cambridge is a good football team. Despite them losing a lot of players, that was a big test for them. And then offensively, 3 different guys catch touchdown passes. They run the ball extremely well. I think they had 301 on the ground. So I think they're just balanced offensively this year. And then defense just seems to be playing confident and outstanding, haven't given up many points at all this season.
Yeah, I think the game against Cal is going to be interesting. And as you mentioned, they beat a pretty good Cambridge team. Only held them to 3 points so far. The notable wins: Pace Academy and Cambridge. Jack Stanton for me is having a big-time season, 1,400 passing yards, 14 touchdowns. And then senior running back Gianluca Tiberia already had 680 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns. So thing about that, why I pointed that out, they're balanced offensively, right? They're running the ball, they're passing the ball. And Stanton's doing a good job as a junior quarterback. So I think a lot of people, me included, and I call myself out on this, we didn't have GAC probably this hot. And they're doing a good job. So we'll see. We got a couple of regional wins on their belt. So we'll see what happens kind of when they go up against Cal, because I think Cal's going to be the class in that region this season. So I think that's going to be a good test for GAC to see, where they are. But they're doing a phenomenal job, 6-0 start. Have to like that.
For sure. And let's look at the passing. So 9 of 20 this last game, Jack Stanton. Just 9 completions, but that goes for 185 yards and 3 touchdowns. So I think that's the efficiency. 3 touchdowns, 3 different targets, and then in terms of the run game, 301 yards on the ground. That's just a good, efficient game plan. 30-3 victory, probably their most impressive result yet. Even though they had a big win over Lovett, they opened the season with that private school gauntlet, and I think they're going to be playing with a lot of confidence. They've had some tough seasons. I think they've already matched their win total from last year. So we'll see. That Kel game will be huge.
Yeah.
Kel probably has the advantage in probably I'd say size, just with their linebackers, their secondary. They have a lot of speed that we'll see, but if they can continue to play and spread the ball out, I think they're going to have confidence.
No, 100%. But that's gonna be interesting to see. That's our game that we got circled. We're gonna move to our second segment. Craig, I'm gonna let you start this one up. I'm gonna step aside for a sec. Is Brock Bowers the best non QB weapon in the sport?
I think he is, and if you look at what he's bringing to the table, he's got the size, he's got the experience, the physicality. His yards after catch are absolutely insane, and I think he has some of the best hands in college football right now. Not many guys can just be running full speed across the middle in traffic, just grabbing it with one hand, whether it's his left hand or right hand. He just makes every difficult catch look easy. He's been spectacular. And really, you look at that win over Auburn and probably Georgia's start this season, they aren't undefeated without him. They've been dealing with injuries, but there's been one consistent playmaker for them, and that's Brock Bauer. And he came through with all the big plays this last week. As Auburn's coordinator said, we were bracketing him the entire game, trying to put shadow defenders over the top. He was receiving the attention, but despite that, he still made the plays. And as I said, he makes one-handed catches with either hand all the time in traffic, and then his speed. Once he has the ball in his hands, he's just so difficult to bring down. Always gets extra yards, fights for every yard as well. And that's something that if you're an elite tight end, you have to be able to do that. Remember watching some big time picks. I forgot his name, but might have been on the Falcons. But it's like you're having you have a catch on like a second and say it's second and like 14. You have like an 8 yard gain and you go down. If you're a tight end, you're supposed to be bigger than everyone in the secondary.
Right.
You're supposed to either truck them, make a move. That's what Brock does.
Nah, he's incredible, man. I went back and looked at the game. I mean, that second and 11 play, that's a big time play because you don't convert that there. I mean, potentially a third and long in Auburn. We know how good of an atmosphere that is. I mean, he takes it, and it's like the defenders made business decisions. It's like, yeah, I'm not trying to tackle this dude. Like, you got to go hit him, you know what I'm saying, some force and some thump if you're going to get him down and tackle him or hit him high. It's not going to work. So, yeah, no, 100% agree. I think he is one of the best players in college football. The part that sucks with college football is the Heisman Trophy. Like, it's pretty much, they might as well just make it a QB award. Like, you'll have guys that's having good seasons like Brock or having good seasons on the defensive side of the ball. I feel like it was more parity back then, but now it's just like, oh, okay, hey, whoever's the best quarterback, let's do it there. And I think obviously have QB awards, but they should just make something.
Who's the best quarterback on the team with the best record?
That's pretty much
that
it.
weighs it so heavily.
Yeah, but then you got guys doing things like this, guys like Travis playing both sides of the ball. There's so many, great players. I just think the Heisman should be who's the best player in college football, not just quarterback award. Have those already for whoever wins, but there needs to be an award. If it's not going to be the Heisman's going to be that, fine. But make an award where whoever's the best player in college football wins it. And I think right now that's Brock Bowers.
Who does he remind you of? Because I saw some comparisons that said he's the next Gronk, but obviously they don't have the same like exact build. I think he's might be just as like physical, but yeah, it's a completely different player.
He reminds me of a mix of kind of a Kelsey, just like how he's always kind of open. And I'm not trying to bring his name up. I know fans probably not going to enjoy this, but kind of an Aaron Hernandez who was playing with the Patriots. Just this what I only bring that up because of his fluidity of movement, right? How fluid Aaron Hernandez used to be when he used to catch the football. it reminds me a little bit of that, which is his fluidity and how he's able to turn it into big games. And then, it reminds me of Kelsey a little bit because he's always open. So it's like almost like a security blanket. Like, I'm going to just get him the ball. He'll give me 7 to 10 yards. So he kind of reminds me of a mix of those two.
Yeah, I think he is like a physical guy though. Like he wants contact.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that's what's so dangerous about him. They were comparing him to Gronk. I heard the word he's a hoss handed out a lot, but yeah, you don't want to tackle him in the open field. You're gonna get a knee pad right in the face mask.
No, 100%. Yeah. So we'll leave that there. We'll move to Georgia Tech. They drop a very tough game against Bowling Green, coming off that big upset win against Wake Forest on the road. Handed them their first loss. The standout was Eric Singleton continue to ball out. He striked first with a passing touchdown from Haynes King. Excuse me. And then there was a TD pass to Leary, their running back, and they jumped out to a 14-0 lead. So it's kind of hard to believe they lost this game. But once again, I think defensively, just poor tackling. They're still struggling there for Georgia Tech. The turning point in the game was the bad snap by Tech when they're trying to punt the ball. Bowling Green recovers the fumble. And at that point, they go up 17-14. Then they scored, I think it was 38 straight points,
Yep.
From the first possession of the second quarter. So, and then, you had a pick six and things like that. And it's kind of amplified almost for Tech. So, obviously, like I said, I still think they'll make a bowl game this year. I just think they struggled a little bit in key spots. Obviously, they got back in it. But the big thing was they were almost about to come back. It was 38-20. And the Kings throws basically a pick in the red zone that kind of like halted everything because if they could have scored there, got a 2-point conversion, it's a 10-point game with 11 minutes left.
Yeah, and obviously this is a team that really came together for the first time this year. I think that's why maybe it got out of hand. Bowling Green was able to run away with it before they could stop the bleeding. But I mean, Tech still has impressed me this season. Haynes King's doing his thing. We saw Don Blaylock getting more involved. They have a lot of offensive firepower, but the mistakes have still been killing them. And it's like, how do you confidently hold it on to a lead? I think they do have the potential to come back in games. We saw them almost do it against Ole Miss.
Yep.
They looked outstanding against Louisville for flashes of that game as well. So I think there'll be things to learn from that game. But, yeah, definitely a tough way to lose that one. They were a heavy favorite going into it.
100%. And then do you think it's time to worry about Georgia a little bit after that close win against Auburn?
Well, I know people are, and I had a lot of text messages this weekend where people are scared of this Kentucky game coming up. And I think what we haven't really seen in these SEC contests is like Georgia has had to just play from behind. They haven't gone out there and established themselves against all the top teams on their schedule this year. They've had slow starts. They're relying obviously on Dejon Edwards. He's been fantastic, but they haven't set the tone early. They've ended up looking like the better team. They've come out and gotten the win, but yeah, they're playing from behind. And so that's a big concern, especially against a team like Kentucky that's going to be motivated, playing with a ton of energy. And they've seen what happened to South Carolina, to Auburn, and they aren't going to want that to happen to them. That is for sure. And cannot sleep on Kentucky.
No, I 100% agree. I think the slow starts that you mentioned are concerning. Tough game run defense-wise. Gave up 219 rushing yards, highest total of the season, I think, even the past few years. So defense has to be better there. But I thought the passing game, they were good as far as defensively. Only gave up 88 passing yards. So they stiffened in the red zone when they needed to. Was really good there. The key stat I have in this game, though, with the Georgia defense, Auburn, 2 for 12. UGA was 8 for 13 on third down. Third down, as you always mention, is that, and the turnovers are obviously the big plays and obviously your red zone offense. But them holding them to only 2 third down conversions in this game was huge for Georgia. So they showed that they can stiffen when they need it most. And they're doing a good job. And I think, honestly, they got to be careful against Kentucky, right? It's a home game, going to be feeling good going in. But I think the big thing is they have to we got to start fast, man. If this Kentucky team goes up 20-0 or 14-0, 17-0 or 25-0, I think it poses problems, you know what I'm saying? And I think they got to be kind of cognizant of that, and you don't want to, like, kind of fall behind too early in this game.
Yeah, offense has been a little concerning. I think Kentucky's as good as anyone they've played so far.
Right.
Um, South Carolina, I think they have a good quarterback. They're a little weak in some areas, but I mean, their schedule, they don't have a lot of really tough games coming up. This will be a big test. They're at home. That's going to be an advantage, but we'll see. I think the big question isn't like, are you concerned? It's like, are they the best team in the country right now? And so I think that's a fair question because they have had to play from behind a lot. And that's something that I don't know isn't really the ideal for them moving forward.
No, it's definitely not. So they got to figure that part out, and we'll see what happens. But I think Georgia should be fine. They should win. But before we get to our college football predictions, we got to address the comment. We appreciate you, Coach Doe, for tuning into the show. The North Atlanta Warriors. We see y'all doing your thing, man. We actually got y'all game circled. We know you got Riverwood this week. We know how good you guys are in the run game with Demetrius Barnes and obviously using kind of Darius Malcolm all over the field. But we got that game circled against Marist that you guys are coming up, I think, in a few weeks as kind of the game of the week, man. We are excited to see you guys go against them. We think you guys' speed can pose problems. Well, I do, certainly for me. And I think, as you mentioned, I know you're the track coach, and you get those guys ready. And I think that's why you guys are having such a great season. Ian Reynolds is doing a good job. Obviously, the run game coordination is doing really good. You guys look like y'all the real deal, and we're happy for you guys. You know, last year was a great year. You guys are off to even better start in the program history. So y'all are doing y'all thing, man, and we really excited to see you guys play Marist in a few weeks.
Yes, it's been an exciting season, I'm sure, so far. What impressed me just week one, I've never seen a game where it's like all 11 guys beat all 11 guys on the other team pretty much every play, but maybe one or two where there's like a one-handed catch. And that's just the way it goes. They're playing really well as a team. That comes with the experience and just all these different guys that can contribute. They were amazing on special teams as well. And then this last week, Barnes, 164 yards and a touchdown. He's getting that done every single week against St. Pius defense. Holds them just 8 points. So it's been fun. I think we've seen Marist. We know what they're going to do. They looked great this last week against Dunwoody. I think that's going to be a primetime matchup, though.
Excuse me, no, 100%. And I think that one more key note about that game, and we'll move to our college football predictions, is I think the physicality of North Atlanta cannot be understated in that game. We know that obviously Marist likes to do what they like to do, run the football, but I think the ability for them to kind of come down in the box, Zena Benson coming down from his position, their linebackers coming down, just the physicality we've seen in week one. I mean, they was laying some big hits against Johns Creek, and I don't think that's going to change, and I think they're going to be doing the same thing. So if they can stifle that run, I mean, definitely got to like their chance.
Yeah, and they play one of the best rushing teams with Wheeler, and so, I mean, they got it done in that one.
Yep.
It's been a fantastic start, setting themselves up for one of the best region battles we'll see in the upcoming weeks. Maybe we'll be there.
Yeah, maybe. All right, but we're going to keep it moving. As you mentioned, so Craig, I'll let you go first. So how did you fare in your picks this week?
Okay, let's see. I missed, the first one I missed, the Utah-Oregon State. Not good. I was impressed with Utah. I thought their defense had been the answer, but Oregon State, they're impressive. I'm sold on them for sure. Who they beat right before that was that Washington State?
Yeah, I lost to them actually.
Okay.
Yeah, Washington State looks pretty good. Cameron
right.
Cameron Ward's been having a phenomenal season.
Okay. Well, then, all right. I was right about the Georgia game, barely. Picked Texas to do their thing for sure. They dominated USC. Expected that one, but it's credit to Colorado. I think that was a big statement for them. And then, we're concerned about USC's defense.
I am. I don't think you can win a national championship with giving up that many points. That's not a good thing. Now, they control the game, but I think, and obviously they got some games coming up. They got Oregon coming up. I think they got Washington State coming up, Washington coming up as well. So we're going to see their defense. They're going to go against Michael Penix Jr., and he's having a phenomenal season, Heisman-like kind of season. So we're going to see them up in the forefront.
Yep. I was right about Notre Dame. I picked them 2 weeks in a row, so Didn't get it the first time, but got it the second time. I was wrong about OSU. Credit to Ole Miss. Let's see, Tennessee. We both picked them. I was wrong about Florida, Kentucky.
Me too.
Big time wrong.
You got the other ones right though. You got the Baylor UCF right. You got the BYU Cincinnati right as well. Yep.
I think that was all of them.
Yep, it was 10 we did. So I think we do 10 each week. But I took the ones you had.
Missed.
You missed 3 only. Okay. I counted. Yeah, you went 7-3. I went 5-5. I had Oregon State. They did win. I had Colorado. I had Florida. I had Georgia. I had Texas. I had LSU. I had Notre Dame. I had UCF and then Cincinnati and I had Tennessee.
Yeah, but I'm missing all the SEC ones.
Yeah.
And I would have missed Tech if we had picked that one. But the fact that we didn't pick it was just how wrong we were. Thought they'd be able to handle that.
No, 100%. And I think a bright spot too is obviously I think Colorado. They had the thing that stands out too, Craig. They had some guys step up in that game that really helps them going forward, right? Marion Miller, the freshman, came in. I think he had 7 catches over 100 plus yards, 196 in a tutty. Then you had Cormani McClain locking up. And Coach Prime was actually asked about that, and he was like, "Well, why is he seeing it fail?" He's like, "Well, he got to get it done in the meeting room. He got to get it done at watching film." So I think him stepping up, like think about it, Cormani McClain, man, on one side, if he plays that aggressive and he's playing that good, potentially Travis said they could come back this week against Arizona State. Don't Shiloh Sanders in that game, you get him back too, and then you got your offensive weapon stepping up. I mean, I think as Jimmy alluded to, he has them winning out the rest of the regular season. I think they're going to be able to get to about 8-9 wins.
Yeah, this is big for Cormani. He has an opportunity. He actually used to play at Lake Gibson. That's where my stepdad was, and so he coached him. And I heard a lot about him, just how talented he was. I saw him at practice one day. He has that same physical, just like explosiveness that reminds me of a Travis Hunter. That was the first thing I thought when I saw him. And so hopefully, what Coach Prime said needs to, was it about his hours on the playbook or whatever?
Yeah, he said playbook. He said the media room. He said film, all that. He was like, I track how much film they're watching. So, I mean, you want to play for Coach Prime? That's what it takes.
But no, that's huge for him stepping up. He's an absolute freak athlete.
No, 100%. So we're going to see. But let's go ahead and move to our next segment, college football predictions for this week. Jimmy, we know you're watching. Go ahead and get us right, man. See what picks we got. Tell us in the comments below if y'all agree or disagree.
All right, so
I got some games for you. I'm going to let you pick 3, Craig. And I got the major matchup so far.
All right, let's go through this first.
Number 12, Oklahoma at Texas.
I got Texas.
I do too. I'm not someone, they are undefeated right now. But I think it's tough to kind of go down there and get that win, man. I think that's going to be tough for them to do. So I'm rolling with Texas for that win at home. I think they continue chucking forward to finally getting a college football playoff berth.
Yeah, you mentioned their schedule, and like this is the game right here.
I mean, that's it.
They got TCU later on, but yeah, this is the big test. Win this one, they're going to be pretty much automatically in that conversation for the playoffs. So huge game right now, and they know it. But I'm going with Texas.
Yep, me too. Red River rivalry, Texas. We got all right. LSU at undefeated Missouri. I kind of want to go Missouri, but then I feel like LSU is going to get back on track and go there and beat them. So I'm torn, but I'm gonna roll with LSU.
Yeah, same. I gotta go with them.
Yep, I gotta go with LSU. All right, next one, Alabama at Texas A&M. I kind of got this one circled as upset alert.
I'll go with Bama.
I'm gonna roll with Texas A&M. I got upset. At home for them, I think they're gonna have a good season. I think they'll continue chucking forward. I got Texas A&M. All right, Kentucky at Georgia.
I'll go with Georgia.
Yeah, it should be at home. Good crowd. I think the key is, like you said, just not having a slow start. Georgia should be able to handle business. Kentucky's a really fiery team, but I don't think they're there just yet. I think they're nipping on the heels, but not there just yet. So I'm gonna roll with Georgia as well. All right, next one, Michigan at Minnesota.
Michigan.
They should win that, but don't be surprised if Minnesota gives them a little bit of problems. But Michigan should go on the road and win that game. Now, big time matchup. Georgia Tech at Miami for the nightcap, 8 p.m. I got to go with the Hurricanes for me.
What's that spread? I'll go with Miami too.
All right. So we both got Miami and Michigan and Georgia. We agree on the last 3 picks. And then Washington State at UCLA. Kind of a trap game. UCLA usually plays pretty good at home. But I got to roll with Washington State.
Same. Got to go with them.
All right. Washington State. Okay. So
Still think Pac-12 is the best division right now.
100% agree. I mean, so many intriguing matchups upcoming in the season. So y'all keep it locked for that. All right, Craig. So it's up on you now. What other matchups you see that you like?
How many do I get?
How many you want?
All right, let's see. Let's go Notre Dame, Louisville.
Oh, Georgia Tech's the home team. Thanks for that, Jimmy. Okay. I still got to roll with the Canes, though. You said, who you say, Craig?
Notre Dame, Louisville.
Notre Dame should win that. I like what Sam Hartman's been doing this season. I think they'll continue checking forward. Was it a home game for Notre Dame? Or?
Yep.
Yeah, they should win that. I got Notre Dame.
Okay, let's get an interesting one outside of the top 10. Let's see. We got Wake Forest and Clemson. I'm going with Clemson in that. Let's see. Bowling Green and Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, I just think it wasn't Tech's day. I mean, obviously, got out to the stretch. I got to roll Miami of Ohio. I think they're a better team. Obviously, Bowling Green with the big-time win, but I think their luck runs out on the road against Miami of Ohio and the MAC. I think they win that game.
I'm going to go with Bowling Green.
All right.
We differ on that one. All right, UCF and Kansas.
UCF disappointed me last week. Their defense just hasn't been where it's supposed to be. I think Kansas just played a tough team. I got to roll with Kansas. Kansas is at home. Yeah, I'm rolling with Kansas.
Same. All right, let's do Colorado, Arizona State.
I think Colorado will feel better after getting kind of going last week, potentially with Travis playing. I think Shiloh will probably be back as well. I think they get some of their mojo back. And as Jimmy kind of alluded to, I think they're going to be a team that can potentially rattle off a bunch of wins. I don't know if that'll be where they get them to the top 25, but I think they're going to be able to rattle off. I think it starts with Arizona State. Big road victory for them.
I'd agree with that. It says it's going to be 100 degrees at that game. That's insane. All right, Texas Tech and Baylor. They say that's even right now.
Oof. I'll roll Baylor. Baylor's pretty good at home. They should win that game. Yeah, I got Baylor. Yeah, Baylor.
Yeah, I'll go with the home team.
Yep.
That's it for me.
All right, so those are our picks. Y'all comment below who you got winning these games, and also next week we'll be right back here live at noon. So y'all let us know how we did and who came out on top in our picks. But right now, I think it's 1-1. Craig took this past week. I had the week before, so we'll see how this week fares if I can come out on top. All right, so that's all we got for that segment. We're gonna move to the final segment of the show to wrap up. We'll talk some NFL. Bills. Are they still the kings of the AFC East? Big time win against the Dolphins. I think not a lot of people had them winning, but 48 points on the Dolphin defense. We see them struggle yet again.
Yeah, and that was a pretty convincing victory. So I think it's a solid division. It's not as good as it could have been with some of these injuries. Patriots didn't look too hot against the Cowboys, but I think they kind of exposed what Miami's one weakness could be. That's that defense. And when you have a high-powered offense going up against them, that's what the Bills have. They finally clicked, came together, didn't turn it over. And certainly I'd say they are at this point. I still think Miami's a tough matchup for everyone. I still like their offense, but the Bills definitely have their number.
Yeah, they do. I mean, and as Coach McDaniel said, they're kind of the class of the division, and they've won it 3 straight years, and that's for good reason. So we'll see if they're able to do it again. I think so. I mean, they're in the driver's seat right now. They are tied with them at the top. So we'll see how it plays off. Miami kind of has a game they can get back right. I think they play the Giants coming up. But yeah, man, Stephon Diggs just had a game, man. 3 touchdowns. They couldn't stop him. Defensively did a really good job slowing down Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Not a lot of teams can say that. And the good thing about the NFL is it will humble you quick. Week before, they put up 70 on the Broncos. This week, only 20 points. Lose by 28. So NFL will humble you quick. So we'll see. I think they're obviously still a contender, but we'll see how they rebound after that. And they'll play, obviously, Bills again this season down in South Beach.
Yeah, that's just a big win for the Bills. Bills should have an even better record than they have right now. I thought that was crazy the way they lost the first week, but I was surprised that it was that big of a margin. So credit to the Bills. We'll see. Looks like they're playing an international game this week.
Got Jacksonville. Jacksonville just played the Falcons in London, so like they're staying there this week.
That's crazy. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, so that's gonna be a tough one. We'll see how they fare. But what were your thoughts on the Sunday night game, Craig? Chiefs against the Jets. I mean, obviously, I think that was probably one of the worst games Mahomes has played, but still made the plays down the stretch. Got you guys in position.
Yes, and I think in that game, anyone that watched it, Mahomes definitely looked a little rattled in that game. He had turnovers that could have gone their way. They got bailed out by the flag, something we've seen in last year's playoffs. And as a Chiefs fan, I'm just like, hey, stop trashing the refs. It's okay. But no, I mean that's always tough. Like, make a big play like that, you're trying to get a comeback. Just they were rightfully upset. Just the Chiefs, they don't blow out teams. Even when they have a lead, it's like I knew that the Jets were going to come back in there. I just knew it. And then Zach Wilson started balling out. So I just think they're getting a lot of guys involved. My key, and I know he's been getting a lot of heat this year, but I want to see Kadarius Toney just have a solid role in that offense.
They need him.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah,
he's got to get more involved.
Yeah. I mean, the Chiefs need him. I mean, obviously you got Travis Kelce. He helps you out a lot, but they definitely need, if they want to repeat as champions, they're going to need the receivers to step up. That's Rashid Rice. That's Kadarius Toney. That's Sky Moore. They need a little bit more production out of them. But I thought overall pretty good, man. But what do you think about that right tackle, man? Jawan Taylor, you guys got in the offseason. I mean, he's been struggling, man. A lot of penalties, 10 penalties, a lot of holding calls, resulted in the safety. Just what do you think about his play so far?
Yeah, it's been a little sketchy. We know we lost Orlando Brown, new piece on the offensive line. Still the Chiefs. They still have a great offensive game plan. Got Travis Kelce, all these guys, but yeah, they still didn't click. And that was a game. It was almost inexcusable that it ended up being that close. They should have handled business, but lucky to get out of that victory. I'm happy so far. There's tons of distractions with the team. I don't know what's going on with all that. I'm sure the fans are about sick of it.
No, for
There's
sure.
Like TikTok trends now with like, you heard about that stupid Roman Empire one, but it's like girls will go up to their boyfriends like, hey, did you know that there's this NFL player that Taylor Swift's dating? And then they're like, yeah, we know. Like, we've known who Travis Kelce is.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what's going on with this team?
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't be too much of a distraction for you guys. So we'll see.
I've seen it before because I'm a big T.O. fan. And I remember when Jessica Simpson was going to
Tony Romo.
Exactly. And that was the year that T.O. ended up crying in the presser. It's like, that's my quarterback, because everyone was like, this is a distraction. Tony Romo is more concerned about the celebrity, and then he's crying. So it's like, anytime I see stuff like that, it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, so that's what we got for that. We got 2 more topics. What else is kind of been on your mind with the NFL that you've been in?
Well, we'll talk about it in a sec, but how about C.J. Stroud? No interceptions yet. So I have this actually pulled up on, because he's closing in on some records. I think he's third all time for most pass attempts without a career interception. And Dak Prescott was actually the one that set the record as a rookie. This is 2016. He went 176 passes. So where's Dak at? Or sorry, where's CJ? So wait, what did I say? 176.
I think CJ's at like 160.
$151.
Yeah, so he's close.
Yeah, he could do it this next game. But I mean, that's impressive. He's beaten Jacksonville.
Beat the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
a lot of people
defense.
said. And then here's the key. The key's right here. The 2 losses: 5 sacks, 6 sacks, 0.
Wow.
So they've cleaned it up. They're giving him time. He's doing his thing, and so I think it's a big development. And if you look at these rookie quarterbacks, one of the best incoming classes we've seen, he's been at the top of the conversation. Yeah, for big time performances. So I guess that Wonderlic score didn't matter. that fake Wonderlic score.
As we said a couple of months ago in the draft kind of analysis, and the guys were trying to put him, he's not a top 10 pick. He's a top 20 or top 30, as we guys told you. Because gets it done. Give me a quarterback all day long that gets it done in the big moments in college football. I'm going to take him all day. So I'm glad the Texans ignored that buzz, took him number 2 overall, respectively so, and they got their franchise quarterback. Obviously, it's going to be growing pains. He's going to have games where he struggles, but, I mean, he's doing a good job for them. 6 touchdowns this season, over 1,000 yards, as Craig mentioned. No INTs. Doing a great job.
Yeah, I mean, he could – I mean, every game, let's see, he had 30 attempts the last 2. So, yeah, if he comes out clean another game, he's the new record holder. So that'd be huge for him.
100%. But, yeah, we're going to leave that there. C.J. Stroud balling out on both levels. All right, Craig, anything else you've seen?
Well, we got to talk about the Bengals just momentarily. I mean, at this point, what are your thoughts on – are you worried about just like the future of the team? I know the play calling is something that everyone's noticing now. You've noticed it for multiple seasons, but this year especially, it's getting bad.
It is, and the problem is.
Oh yeah, Graham was there.
Yeah, Graham was there. The thing is just like your quarterback's hobbled, so he can't do a lot. And the issue is, Craig, is that, and obviously people are going to blame the O-line. He took too many hits, but Tennessee was just blitzing. They're like, yo, you can't beat us with any of these routes you're going to run. We know he can only stand back there a little bit. We're going to bring pressure. So at that point, you have to be able to change it up. And then what Zach does is he abandons the run. They don't switch up any formations. There's no creativity. And defenses start to be able to know what you're going to do. And they've been figured out. Nobody's going to say it, but Cincinnati's been figured out what they want to do. So he has to go back to the drawing board as offensive coordinator, or he needs to give up the duties, let somebody else do it, and there needs to be more creativity in the offense. That is the problem offensively for the Bengals. Burrow is hurt. Burrow is not 100%. He's trying to duke it out and help his team. But, again, we'll see how he looks in this game against Arizona. He said he's going to play. But if he doesn't look good, you go to 1-4. I think at that point you put him on IR. I mean, like I said, I don't see the reward of playing him, potentially hurting yourself, knock on wood, and not being able to play. That's your franchise, right? We know what he can do when he's healthy. Make sure the guy's healthy and let him play. But that's the issue right now. They're a one-trick pony. They've been figured out. There's no creativity. That's the problem offensively. Defensively, they carried them to that win against the Rams. But they were not good. And the thing was, I always tell you, Craig, they was running the ball with Derrick Henry and set up play action. We got fooled so many times with it because we was trying to stop Derrick Henry, and it was killing us with play action over the top with D. Hopkins, Nickel, Westbrook, and all the receivers. So that was made a difference. Run defense has not been good this year. Defense has to be better as well.
Yeah, I think the crazy thing is they've known Joe Burrow's dealing with this since before the season started. So that's what's crazy to me. It's not like you haven't had time to try to adjust. It seems like there's some frustration. That would have been a good opportunity to get to 2-2. Tennessee is a tough matchup sometimes. I think they're kind of unique just in terms of their playing style. Coach Vrabel does a good job. But, yeah, they should get the win next week, and hopefully they get things going. But that was definitely a tough loss for a team that has had a disappointing start.
Yep. So we'll see if they turn it around, but rough start for them. But we'll keep it live. We'll have news on them next week and see how it all shakes out. But any other big storylines you've seen, Craig, from across the league before we wrap up, or just players you want to shout out?
Not too much. Let's see. I'm interested in how Jacksonville is going to continue. I thought that was a pretty solid win over the Falcons, but Falcons didn't really look too hot. Philly keeps rolling. That was a big win. That was a tight game. Then we'll see. Are the Falcons? Who's up in the NFC South right now?
It's the Buccaneers.
Bucks,
They
that's
just beat
right.
the Saints. Yep. So Bucks are doing their thing. They look in
Yeah,
the
they have
class.
looked good.
Yep, they've looked good. I guess last point before we wrap up, big time game this weekend, right? Prime time, Sunday night football, 49ers and the Cowboys. Jerry
Ooh,
Jones
yeah,
has
the
already came
Cowboys,
out this week and said that they are the class of the NFC, basically saying the Super Bowl runs through them in the NFC. He didn't even mention the Eagles, so maybe shots fired a little bit there. But big time game. How will Dallas fare, right? Whenever they've been able to get either a fumble, scoop, and score or a pick six, they've won games. But when the offenses had to lead them, they've struggled. So I think that's a good game to see how they fare. As we know, San Fran's the class of the NFC. They're going to be right there. 3 contenders, Philly, Cowboys, and then obviously San Fran. So I think that's a primetime game. Can't wait to see who comes out on top. Can Dallas finally get over that hurdle? They've handed them their last 2 losses in the playoffs and sent them home.
Who do you think has the better defense?
I got to go San Fran. I like Dallas's defense, but I think with losing Trayvon Diggs, that kind of hurts them a little bit. Obviously, Deron Bland had a good game against the Patriots, but this is a better offense. They could throw so many things at you. Christian McCaffrey had a big game. They got Debo. They got Brandon Ayuk. They got George Kittle. They got so many weapons. And then Brock Purdy does not turn over the ball. He had 1 incompletion in the game against the Cardinals. 1. He's just a great quarterback. Don't turn over the ball. Does everything well. But I will go with San Fran defense. I got San Fran winning.
Yeah, that'd be a great game. Definitely going to watch that one. Opportunity to see both those teams squaring off. That's huge. Definitely the game to circle this week.
100%.
Yeah. We'll have a story out soon on this reclassification. We'll figure that out. And tomorrow will be Wednesday. I don't have a guest booked yet, so I got to do that too.
All right. Well, we're going to conclude it there. We're going to let Craig get to work. Appreciate you guys tuning in. You guys lit up the comment section. As always, thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Coach Doe, as well, and all the others that watched the show today. We'll see you guys next week for our show. And Craig will be back tomorrow, and I'll be back for my show on Thursday. So we'll see you guys then. Have a good one. Peace.